Valentine's Day. This year, I think it's 16 Valentine's Days that I've shared with my wife. And of course, with this year's challenges, it's not quite as easy to just go out to a restaurant. And one of our favorite Valentine's Day desserts was the creme brulee. When we first got together, we lived in a neighborhood that you could walk around in Charlotte, and there was a French restaurant there, and well, we couldn't actually afford to go eat at the French restaurant, but we could afford to go get dessert. So usually we'd go grab a slice of pizza somewhere that we could afford, and then head on over to the French restaurant for our creme brulee dessert. So I'm gonna attempt to duplicate that today. Okay, so we're gonna start by making the base for the custard. And that is going to be 5 egg yolks. So I'll have to separate the yolks from the whites and mix them with a half a cup of granulated sugar. Okay, so now I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and almost 3 cups of heavy cream. It was just short, so I'll be curious to see how this turns out. Hopefully this won't hurt us, but it was close. So we're getting ready to bring this thing up to just a simmer. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna add in a little bit of my own signature recipe ingredient, and we'll help this thing along. Okay, so we've slowly heated it to a simmer, and that heavy cream really smells pretty good. Of course, I know all my videos I talk about how good things always smell. But anyway, I think this is where things get a little critical. I know this is where we're gonna put in our vanilla extract. Start a kettle, there's 1 1/2. Okay, once I get that in, I need to take a half a cup of this heavy cream while it's still warm and whisk it slowly in with the eggs and sugar. Then I transfer it back to the rest of the cream and whisk it all together. So let's see if we can execute this without screwing anything up. All right, so there's my half cup. We're keeping that off. We're gonna start mixing this in. You gotta be careful because the heat of the cream, you don't want it to start to scramble or cook the eggs. We're just making a custard. We're not making an omelet. I want to get that cream and that sugar and those eggs to blend together very well. I think patience and being very careful is the secret to getting this right. I know this is very difficult because even at some restaurants that I have had it at, it's been not always perfect. Most of the time they get it pretty right, but I've had it burnt. Have the custard not just have the right consistency, but most times it's good. Okay, so now we're introducing our cream and egg base mix back into the remainder of the heavy cream and whisking it. You have to keep it moving. Nice and steady. Man, I really hope I'm doing this right. I love creme brulee, and I really would like to be able to give my wife something special this Valentine's Day. Okay, so now that we've got our custard made, mixed up, whisked, blended, it's still warm. We're gonna very carefully try to pour these into these ceramic containers. Okay, so now we're carefully adding the boiling water to the pan. We want to fill it up to about a 1/2 inch or so, just to kind of completely create a water bath for these dishes that are holding the custard. Okay, so the custard now is out of the oven. It ended up taking about 35 minutes, almost 40. But you can see Here's a little bit of jiggle, and the edges look like they're pretty solidified. So we're gonna take these now, put them on the cooling rack. They'll sit out for about an hour. Then we'll lightly cover them and put them in the fridge. Okay, so I can see that someone has sampled the custard while it was getting ready in the fridge. But regardless, evidently it was pretty good because I didn't get any complaints. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this cane sugar and we're gonna spread it nice and evenly over the entire custard. Okay, so now I have our creme brulee custard coated with sugar, and we're getting to my favorite part where we torch it up. All right, so we're gonna get this sugar to caramelize. Without burning it. Oh, look at that. Look at that sugar starting to caramelize. We're gonna make a nice crust on top of this custard. And just like when you cook a meat, you wanna make sure you keep that part of the flame out of the food so you don't get that propane taste. Oh yeah, look at the caramel that's starting to rise to the top of this. It's gonna crust up beautifully. Okay, so I now have the sugar caramelized, but I gotta tell you, it's a lot tougher than it looks. It's slightly burnt. Maybe, I don't know. We'll find out, but we're gonna let this settle in and get a little crusty, and then we'll try to see how it tastes. Okay, so we have our Valentine's creme brulee. Good. Nice crusty top. Gonna break that crust. Get in there. Try a little bit of that crust with the custard. Oh my goodness. That is ridiculous. It is so good. It is so good. Happy Valentine's Day. I can't wait to get this to my bride. She is gonna love it. And I think you will too if you duplicate what I've done here. Happy Valentine's Day.